We all know that teaching can be a lot, from lesson plans to the paperwork from 10 different IEPs, 14 phone calls to respond to, just today's work to grade, while I'm just trying to get a cup of coffee and maybe a trip to the bathroom. But what if I told you there was one tool that could make this job feel a little bit less like a circus, and almost by magic make this more doable? Oops. Whether you're a teacher or a school leader trying to support one, the pressure is real. So whether it's engagement, data crunching, or just the never-ending paperwork that there is to do, it's all on your plate. And that's where the Vibe board comes in. Let me show you. First of all, this takes my engagement to the next level because I can literally teach from anywhere in the room. Using the Vibe One app, I can literally move in real time and interact with my board, whether I want to type something new on there, I want to move slides, or even just go back to my apps so that I can go into something that I need to work on now. I can do that from anywhere in my room using a smartphone or a tablet. Now, the reason I love this so much is because we all know that building engagement and classroom management are two of the biggest struggles in any classroom. When you are not tethered to your whiteboard or your device in the front, you can be around students. That zone of proximity really changes things. So now when a student is off task, I can leave my board, take my device with me, still keep teaching my class while helping someone else to focus. So you're lessening classroom management problems, you're upping engagement without losing flow in your classroom. One of my next favorite features is how your workflow is literally made simple. I can lessen the amount of revisions I want students to do to a piece of writing or an answer sheet that they're working on in class, because I can have students literally beam what they're working up to the board, or I can just open it in my Google Docs or my Dropbox, and by a simple click of my screen, a film goes up over that document. I can now write on here, identify potential mistakes, love something that a student did. I can change it to highlighting mode, pick a color, highlight something that I want them to add a little bit more to. But instead of a student handing in an assignment, me grading it, then handing it back, then them handing it back in, it stops the back and forth, helps me to do it in real time. I can then send this document marked up right back to a student. So I'm saving myself time and effort, and there's no learning loss because students are doing these changes in the moment. This also helps if a student wants to hand something in and you can use it as an example for the rest of the class. This feature is priceless for teachers trying to give real feedback in real time. It also helps school leaders to actually see in action what your teachers are doing, how they're giving feedback to students, how students are responding, and how we're taking our students from where they are to where they need to be. Vibeboard also helps you to differentiate your lessons in real and impactful ways that matter. So whether your students are neurotypical or neurodivergent, there are tools on here that help everyone. So maybe that's English class and you're working on a piece of writing together. Students can be up at the board doing this, or they can be sitting at their seat typing on something and it popping up on the board in real time. If you're working with students in math or science, you can have them come up to the board, either a single student or multiple students at a time, and build engagement by having them work things out while you stand back and work with them or watch them problem solve in real time. Now, because Vibe has an infinite canvas, you can make this as large or as small as you want. You can go back to a problem you were working on earlier. You can move down to something as an example later, and all of this is savable so that if you need to work on it later after school or during a tutoring program later, it's all saved forever on your Vibe board. Or if you want to turn your math lesson into a learning station, pull up Khan Academy. And right on your board, you can have students watch videos, do assignments, take quizzes. And for kids that need a little bit more room to think, using its split screen feature, Khan Academy can go on one side and your Vibe canvas on the other. Now, while students are taking the assessment or working on a problem or going over something with one another, they can also write on this side, which, just like scrap paper in the old days, gives kids a space to do their work so you can see where they're going right and where they're going wrong to help them really grasp the skill that they're working on. Research has shown us that failure rates have dropped from 32% to 21% just by having students get up from their seat and actively learn in spaces and places like this. So whether at their seats or up at the board, you can have students taking polls, competing on Kahoot or Bookit or any other of their favorite learning websites. It really brings to life this idea that differentiation doesn't have to slow you down or take more time, because it's not about doing more, it's about doing it differently. And why? Because all the right tools are in one place. Now, I'll admit, this is really fun, but it's also remarkably practical. So let's say you're having classroom management issues. Sometimes our students come into class and they are acting a certain way because we can't build that level of consistency, or kids aren't hearing us, but they have to see what we need them to do. So when my students come in, I have a red light letting everyone know that we are not doing anything at the moment. Once we start working on an activity, I can change that light to green. Once it goes to green, I can set a timer. That timer starts counting down, letting students know how much time they have until the end of this activity. Once that timer counts down, I can change that color to yellow, letting students know that they still have a bit of time left, but time is counting down. In the midst of a lesson, if the sound is getting too loud, my board is going to note that, and if I see things getting into the red, I can stop my lesson in an instant and talk to my students to help them get more focused and grounded in what we're doing right now. I also can do everything from have a mood check when my students come in to have a journal entry on the board asking them specific questions and also having that visual up there. And the beauty is, as I said in the beginning, I can walk around my classroom and do that all from my Vibe One app. And what that means for me and my students is I can stop dictating my lesson from the front of the classroom and facilitate it from anywhere in the class. Another feature I love is that my Vibe board basically becomes my live command center with launching lessons. So teachers, you know that even when you write the most clear instructions with the most thought out plan, just handing it over to students sometimes is just not enough. You need to begin to walk them through it. So especially at the beginning of the year, I can put up something, an assignment from my Google Classroom. The students can see it in real time. I can point out to them what any classroom announcements are, what today's assignment is, and to make sure that they're checking at the bottom of that assignment any attachments that go along with it. Then, because I can annotate on the board, I can also make sure that certain students are understanding that an assignment is due today. I can note particular details that I want students to understand when they're doing the assignment. And if you don't have time to do this in class, you can also screen record everything you're doing on your board and upload it to Google Classroom with a simple click. And just like that, I can show students how to navigate the assignment, show them what my expectations are, and even do the first question of the assignment with them if I chose. Teaching by its very nature will always be tough, but with the right tools, it becomes sustainable, scalable, and worth it. If you want to up the vibe in your classroom or your entire school, this is your move. I want to thank Vibe for sponsoring this video. You can find all the information that you need about Vibe board in the link below to check more out yourself or to send it to an administrator so that they can see the tools that you need to help your students come alive. That's it this time, gang. Peace.